So, welcome to today's podcast where I am joined by Mark Woodbury. Mark, thank you for taking the time to come on today.
Yeah, happy to be here,
Um,
Greg. Thanks for having me on.
so, for anyone who's not aware of who you are and what you do, can you just give the audience just a quick bit about yourself and how you go about making money or what you do day to day?
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, my name is Mark Woodbury. I'm a partner at Upward Exits. We're a brokerage for digital businesses, so a lot of e-commerce businesses, some software, other businesses, primarily upwards of 500,000. I'm a partner with that. We've been doing it for a little over 2 years with my partner Alex. So we've been getting involved in the SEO community, and that's how you and I met, obviously, at the conference last year.
Yeah.
Chiang Mai, and so we work with sellers of digital businesses.
Interesting. Interesting. It's obviously something that I'm getting into it now. Buying and selling Amazon websites and various other digital assets. I think it's, Chiang Mai for me opened my eyes up to a lot of that stuff and meeting people like yourself. And I'm sure all the other guys, you're well aware of who they are, all these other crazy guys doing all sorts of weird and wonderful business without doing client-side SEO, if you like, is very, very interesting, to say the least. So I think there's there's a lot of businesses out there that people might not be aware of. And as you're saying there, helping people or being a broker for selling websites upwards of £500,000. There's massive demand for that type of thing. There's loads of investors out there who want to buy digital assets, and I think it's only going to grow going forward as well. I mean, is that something you're seeing as
Yeah,
your
yeah. It's the industry's definitely grown. We feel good about where the industry's going over the course of the next, obviously, decade in the future. Each market's a little bit different. You touched on Amazon. That's gotten a lot more competitive. We've seen a lot of new entrants there in the past couple of years. I observed the space. I was never in it, but I've just seen the businesses we've worked with that primarily sell on Amazon. They've had their margins squeezed. Some of them have been knocked off by Amazon. That's just an ever-changing space. The SEO space is always changing. It's just happening so fast. Rapid changes throughout the sector, and e-commerce is no different. Those guys all moved to Amazon. Now some of them are trying to move their business back off. But as far as the market in general, there's more people moving towards self-employment, towards entrepreneurship, towards running some type of business online, which is exciting to see.
I think, yeah, that's the dream. We all want to be our own boss, and whether it's Amazon or whatever, there's guys out there that can obviously make a lot of money online. Whether it's a SaaS tool or loads of other lead gen options and everything else. It's not just about Amazon, and I think a lot of people out there who think about buying on websites, Amazon's the first thing that springs to mind. But I'm assuming you guys are not only dealing with Amazon. That's a small proportion of the business. Like, what types of other business models, if you like, do you guys kind of broker deals for?
Yeah. So, the ones who just sell on Amazon, that's a pretty small portion of the business because we're focusing on ideally businesses over $1 million. We think in the 1 to 10 range, there's a lot of value to be added to those clientele, and it's still, we're below where the lower mid-market investment banks come in. We want to stay, we're trying to swing out of our weight class when we go up in the $25-30 million range. We want to stay under 20.
Yeah.
And at that range, we're also working with entrepreneurs as well, as opposed to a company with 30, 40, 50 employees, which we like, and we're helping small businesses. Now, in that range, we see not a lot of, there are some businesses that just sell on Amazon purely, but we see more omnichannel retailers where they'll have their own e-commerce storefronts. They might have a wholesale channel. They might sell on Walmart.com and Amazon.com. So they have a couple sales channels, traffic channels to their website, et cetera. They're a little bit more diversified. And those are also in higher demand for the buyers. The good e-commerce buyers want a business that's well-rounded, has a few different traffic channels, a few different sales channels, etc. So that's primarily who we're working with.
And for guys who are potentially looking to invest in that type of thing in a business, what is the kind of process involved? Obviously, I'm assuming they have to contact you. Is there anything you need? Is there a process that you have to go through, or can anyone do this? Like, just come to you and say, I want this specific type of business, and I've got this amount of money to spend. Can you sort it out?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah, it's, we advise people to understand the business we're getting into. We do hear from some career changers who, maybe they have an engineering background, or they work in Silicon Valley, they work for Facebook, they work for Google, something like that. These people have an itch for self-employment, or the career changers. We see some people in the States. In the U.S., we have what's called the SBA loan. So some of those people qualify for favorable lending terms to buy a business. And some, a lot of them realize that, hey, I don't know what I don't know. So let's talk to the broker and try to find something that's a good fit. We advise people to buy something once they understand it. If you're an SEO guy and you're buying an affiliate site, you understand how it's ranking, how it's making money. We don't want to put somebody into an asset that they don't understand how to run. That just to get it sold, that's not going to be beneficial for them. The seller might get out, but ultimately that's going to hurt us long term as well. So we want people to understand what they're buying. So we always ask those screening questions: is what's your background? How much time can you allocate to this? Which parts of this business are you comfortable with, and which parts are new? If the marketing portion of it's new, you can hire a marketing firm. We can set you up with somebody. And try to make it a more white glove approach instead of just this one makes X amount and you have X amount of money. Come buy this. We want to be a little bit more holistic approach. Like, sit on the couch. All right, what can we do for you? And try to find something that's fit.
Interesting. One thing I do want to ask you is, obviously, I've only really got experience with Amazon, but you know how, like, if I was to sell an Amazon website, you're going to get, around about 25 to 35 times the monthly revenue as a sale price. Is that the same across the board with e-commerce and everything else, or is there different kind of pricing?
Yeah, in terms of valuation, you're right. It's you're looking 2 times plus for the little associate sites. Now, the larger ones, if you have, like, say, an Amazon associate site where you get traffic through social as well as some through SEO, and you have a bunch of different money pages, organic links, you've been around, you're an authority in your niche, whatever it is, you're driving the multiples higher. And also you're probably making more. The businesses that make 3, 4, 500K, and the businesses that make 4, 5, 6 million, and there are some in the affiliate space as well. Those are going to get higher valuations than the smaller ones. Like at Chiang Mai, those are a lot of people who have 4, 5, 7 sites going at once, and they sell at once. It makes $5 or $6 grand a month. Those are not people we work with a whole lot. We try to work with the larger businesses that have 2, 3, 4 plus years in business, their own tax returns, etc. But those guys, I think, are selling for 2.5 times multiple, or as you said, 25 to 30x monthly. The larger ones, we can sell for more than that. They have that diversified traffic sources, clean link profile, etc. Now, the other part of the questions you asked, is that the same for other businesses? Software can go, a software business that does 3, 4, 5 million in profit and EBITDA, depending on the industry, depending on, is it a B2B piece? Is it direct to consumer, or is it a business to consumer type of software? Those multiples can get 5, 6, 7 times profit, annual profit. Those are real attractive, like small private equity firms, and there's also small investment firms that just buy and run software businesses. So it's really across the board, both on size of the business, how diversified the traffic channels are, the sales channels. We're de-risking it by making it more diversified. Some of those larger businesses have a staff that goes with it. They have their own fulfillment facility if it's an e-commerce business. So that's when you get up into higher multiples. So there's the long answer to your question, Craig.
No, I like the way you put that across. Going back to what you said, obviously we met in Chiang Mai, and obviously you mentioned there that they're probably not your target audience as such. There's probably a few guys in Chiang Mai that you would probably do business with. So what are your what's your reasons for going to events like Chiang Mai out with, obviously, you're not going to get big players across there in terms of selling big business, but I'd be curious to know, the reasons behind you attending that. Is it for self-development, or, is it for business to see if there is big players there? What was the reason for that?
Yeah. So we actually just closed a business. We're moving money here this week from a guy that we met at Chiang Mai. That one's for over $500,000. I was just referring to some of the smaller deals that, you meet a couple of the guys there where as soon as a business ranks, they might have one money page on it, a couple of PBNs go into it. And as soon as it makes $3,000 a month, they put it on the market. Those aren't the businesses we work with. And those are the ones that are going for, 20 to 25x monthly profit. Right.
Yeah.
I was just referring that those aren't businesses that we usually take. I think there's other shops that they can go to. I think Empire Flippers does a great job with those guys. They have processes in place to get these things turned around real quick on the market. So we do meet people there who are a fit. We met a couple guys there who are potential buyers. They run holding companies or small funds of money. They're unfunded sponsors, or they have a pool of assets that they buy and run. Other affiliate businesses for e-commerce businesses. There were some e-commerce people at the conference. So the rationale is we want to go, point of being self-employed is live on your own terms, do it your own way. So we enjoy traveling and find a reason to get over there. We're heading to Bali here in a couple months to do the DMCC as well. It always makes itself worthwhile just by networking alone. And then whatever value we can bring from talks like yours, and I still have my notes from your talk last year, Craig. Those are all implementable. We need to know the industry that we're selling businesses in. When buyers have questions, we need to have not just an answer, but the right answer, and we need to be able to vet the seller side as well.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense if you're going at it, and obviously you're obviously saying that you want your buyers to fully understand what they're getting into, but also, from a personal point of view, you guys are fully understanding what you're getting into and what you're selling and things like that. And I think that's obviously that would make a massive difference. To me, I'd much rather buy from someone like you who understood what a PBN was, or were able to look for some of the kind of tricks that people would maybe do to make a website make money that can obviously be pulled from under your feet. So, obviously money, people don't want to invest big money in websites. And obviously the kind of clients you deal with are spending big money, and they don't want to be investing big money on a bogus project, if you like, or something that's maybe built on quicksand, if you like. So I think, it's a really good thing that you're doing there is going out to meet these people and understand, what SEO is. So, Chiang Mai, I think for anyone out there looking to learn anything, whether it's, directly going out there to get business ideas or do business or whatever it may be, I think most people come away from an event like Chiang Mai with some form of either knowledge or contacts or whatever it may be. I think, I can't speak highly enough about that particular event. And I think Bali is much the same kind of crowd that go there as well. And I'd have loved to have went to Bali. I actually asked to speak there, but their slots were full, so I'm not going to make Bali or Chiang Mai this year. Yeah. But I will be back next year for Chiang Mai for sure.
You were writing one a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah. I wasn't speaking at that one though. I just go to Brighton just more for the networking and just meeting up with friends and obviously meeting new people as well, and stuff like that. Brighton's not my target audience in terms of speaking. It's more of a white hat audience, if you like. And if I've spoke at Brighton last year, and I actually got a bit of stick for it. My talk was around PBNs and just what they are and be aware of them. I wasn't saying everyone has to use them, and I took a bit of stick for it. So certain events are for certain people, but as I say, most of the events that I go to are mainly for the networking side of things. Obviously, I love to go up and share knowledge and tips on stage if the opportunity arises as well. But I think just meeting good people and traveling and stuff like that, and getting inspiration from other people is massive as well. Just getting ideas and constantly developing yourself. I see it as kind of training, if you like, for myself when I go to these events, and I'm sure you probably find the same as well.
Yeah, like just last year, I met, and just at the Chiang Mai conference season, we met so many people with just different business models. One guy who just does basically keyword research, supply and demand arbitrage of ebooks on Amazon. He just researched what are people searching for where there's no good content. He pays somebody to make the content, rank it on Amazon. So, he's ranking on Amazon's search engine as opposed to Google, but he still learned about algorithms, and he's probably there to network just like you and I are. But that's just one example that, there's as many business models as there are people there, which is kind of cool. And stories, and people come from all around the world, have gotten into entrepreneurship, new and old. And, I say the networking alone makes it worthwhile. They do a good job of drawing a fun crowd to Thailand. We were South Africa, Australia, UK, the US. It was a good group.
Yeah, it was insane. I think I met people from probably most places around the world. There was like Polish guys, everything within certain areas, Canadians, Americans, South Americans, the lot. There was everything there. And yeah, it's good to see so many guys actually doing their own stuff, and as you say, weird stuff as well. Just like niching right down into very specific things. So, in terms of entrepreneurship and everything else, what made you get into this? Like, why this business model? What started it?
Yeah, I was in finance previously for my first couple of years out of school, and enjoy the business valuation part of it. Enjoy evaluating stocks and bonds and publicly traded companies, much larger businesses, obviously. And then looked at, what small businesses are on the market, how are people buying those, understood how an SBA loan works, how real estate, commercial real estate investment works. And then just brick by brick, that built curiosity down the road. And then I started an e-commerce business on the side. Just had normal 9 to 5, like most of my colleagues did at the time. Started an e-commerce business on the side, and realized that that's where my thoughts were. That's where I was spending most of my time, most of my energy, my enjoyment. And then that was able to replace my normal income. And that's when I jumped ship, quit my 9 to 5, focused on e-commerce full time, ended up selling that and getting into brokerage, which I had an interest in from a few years previously. And so Alex and I started the brokerage, started Upward Exits about 2 years ago, a little over. And, it was up and down in the beginning. It's who are you guys and why should I do business with you? And, I think people are right to ask those questions. We've learned about the business a lot in the first 12, 18 months. And now we feel like we've kind of got our feet under us, and we're able to go from here. We're able to pour gas on the fire, so to speak. So we have a third guy who's joining us, who's more from a finance background like myself. And he's learning the tech side of things. So SEO is somewhat new to him. I think he understands the paid search game and the social media marketing game. But, we all come from different backgrounds. And I think that's what's exciting about it. It's trying to put this puzzle together, and we all have
Yeah.
challenges in entrepreneurship and trying to get from where we're at to the next level. Whether that's getting started or whether that's getting from 100K a month to $250,000 a month. It's everybody's trying to solve this puzzle of how do I get to that next level? How do I add people to my team? How do I add one connection or one new strategy, one new technique? That part of it is real exciting to me. Just all the possibilities and the creativity you can employ when building a business is something that I really get excited about. And so I love what I do. It's still bumpy. We're still in the early stages where we'll have a huge quarter and then nothing for a little bit, and another huge one and nothing. And yeah, you probably know the ups and downs of that when starting a new business.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. Right? I love it. There's nothing else I'd rather do.
I like the fact that you get excited about it, and a lot of people who start off in a business venture actually, in my experience, fear it. They're scared to make mistakes, and they're scared to try new things or whatever, and you're obviously excited by the whole thing. For anyone who is looking to get out of the 9 to 5 job and maybe start out on their own, obviously you came from a finance background, and someone might go, because he's financial, a finance guy, he may have a better understanding of business. But you've got guys like me who have also started the business, and I've never been in finance in my life. I actually hate the finance side of business. So it's good that, and as you said, there's other people there, tech guys and stuff in the background joining up with you. You don't have to have a finance background to then start your own business. It's for people out there that are starting business, they're always fearful and think they can't do it. I mean, what advice would you give to someone starting their own business? Do you need to have a good, strong finance background, or is it just, go with it and see what happens? What
yeah, that's a good question, Craig. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's one thing I find questions from my colleagues, from people I went to high school with, went to college with, is how do you start in doing business online? And you obviously gravitated towards SEO and don't like finance. There's as many different business models online, as you could want. We talked to some guys one guy was a data scientist, and then he had a kid. He and his wife got pregnant, and he realized, I don't want to work 60-hour weeks. I'm going to take what I understand about data scientists. He's obviously an engineering type, analytical mind, and I'm going to go into online business. And he went into selling on Amazon and find a way to make it successful there. He didn't have a finance background, but he's a qualitative thinker. He's an engineer type of mind, was able to do good keyword research, find which products aren't being offered, and build a business. I want to say he makes 30 or 40 grand a month profit in year 2, just because he tried. And most people don't. It's so fearful. What type of business do I try? And I don't know anything about that. It's you got to at least put your toes in the water. So at least try something on the side. If you're working a 9 to 5, maybe you love it, maybe you don't. I do think that most people have some sort of entrepreneurial itch that they want to scratch. And so I'd encourage those people, whether they're taking a course on SEO from, obviously one of your colleagues who have those courses, or whether they take a course on e-commerce or selling on Amazon, if they can have something going on the side, it doesn't need to be their full-time income right away. But that's how it begins, is find something. If you have a little bit of interest in it, maybe you'll lose a couple $1,000. And if you're able to afford that, then really that's all you need, is that and some time. If you start it on nights and weekends, you'll end up learning a tremendous amount. Sooner or later, if you stick with it and you enjoy it, you'll end up turning a profit. And at some point, when you scale on what works, double down on what you're having success on, you'll end up making a full-time income from it. Now, I guess you and I are fortunate enough to rub shoulders with people who have done it. It sounds easy once we meet these people at the conference who are making 30, 50, 100 grand a month. They didn't get there overnight, and I think it's intimidating to a lot of people to talk to them and to realize where their knowledge is at, where their skill set's at. They didn't get there overnight either. Everybody had to start somewhere. So I
Yeah.
just encourage people to just research it on the side. Find one thing that you find interesting about online business and use your skill set. If it's not finance, if it's not, a real quantitative mind of understanding how algorithms works, that's fine. Find something else you're good at. There's a lot of people with great marketing skills who are building Facebook ad agencies. That's a business model that we've seen grow over the past few years in the space. So I think there's a space for all different type of people, as long as you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, at least try entrepreneurship a little bit, and see where it goes from there. And there's never-ending hurdles to overcome with entrepreneurship, obviously, but brick by brick, the successful people that you and I meet at these conferences have built it over the course of years. It's not done overnight.
Yeah, nothing good happens overnight. There's no such thing. But in terms of starting out, and you've obviously been there for 2 years, and it's always a rocky road at the start of any business. Is there anything that you would tell someone not to do? Something that you've done that you advise people not to do going forward, starting off in business?
It's one thing I see a lot of people do. We have the benefit as brokers of seeing under the hood of a lot of businesses. Some people will try to do everything too fast. Well, they want organic traffic, and they want social media, and they want paid search, product listing ads, and they want to sell on Amazon. Just do one to start. When you start your business, find one traffic channel that works. Don't spend all your budget on social media ads at the same time you're trying to run search ads. Find one thing that works for you. So if your audience is mainly SEOs, find SEO that works for you. Then add one thing from there. Once you're ranking and you understand the SEO portion of your business, then add search traffic, and then add social media from there. You see too many people trying to do too much. They want to be the expert in each field, and they end up being just mediocre in all of them. So I'd say double down on what they're good at. Allocate their budget there, allocate their time there. Then once they're making a profit in that field, if they choose to do e-commerce, if they choose to do lead gen or rank and rent, whatever it is, then they can expand from there. Then they could add other skill sets. But I'd say pick one when you're getting started.
I think, that's something I massively failed with at the start of my career in digital marketing. Was I wanted to have like 20 websites, all different niches, dominating everything. And, I launched all the 20 websites, but they were all, very, mediocre attempts at trying to rank in all 20 different niches. And it just doesn't work. You spread yourself way too thin. And, so I can totally relate to that particular thing. In terms of positives, obviously we don't always want to look at the negative. What were the kind of pitfalls? In terms of positive things, is there any kind of things that you can share with other people that were positive that they can quickly fix within their business when they're starting out? Like even, just bits of advice like, get a good accountant or delegation, or how did you scale up? How did you get more staff? How are you managing time within the business? What kind of things are you doing that you would recommend to other people that have worked very well for you?
What types of tools and tricks, I guess, is we have good success on HubSpot. That's automated a lot of our workflows, saving emails as templates, because we have a lot of back and forth with potential buyers, with potential sellers. As well as knowing if you have a partnership, and I guess many of these people are just solely self-employed. I have 2 business partners, but knowing who handles what and on what days, so we know what the other person's handling. Things don't fall through the cracks. We know what our responsibilities are when they get taken care of. It allows you to double down and focus on just a couple roles inside the business, as opposed to trying to do everything. And I think it's the same, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but it's the same for somebody like yourself who's self-employed, don't have partners, but you don't like the accounting side of the business. My guess is you just hire an accountant to handle that, right?
I've got an agency, and I do have a business partner. So he deals with all of that kind of stuff. I position myself A lot of people think I work in my own or whatever, because I'm the guy that's on stage, but I do have people in the background. But it was one of the biggest failures I ever done in business. Was I, as an SEO, set my first business up, and I was the main man in the business. I was the salesman. I was, the sole owner. I was the salesman. I was the SEO guy. I was the office manager and everything else. And I would not delegate, although I was hiring staff. I wanted to run everything and became very possessive over the business. And that, in fact, was led to the business not being able to grow and scale, because you can't do everything. So obviously, the next time out, I was lucky enough to find a business partner who is more of a sales and account management type of role, which suited me well, because then I was allowed to crack on with what I was good at. And I would always say, well, that was going to be my next question for you, actually, is would you would you advise people to go into business with partners, or try and be the sole owner? And for me, I would always say to someone, having a business partner is certainly not a bad thing, especially when you can delegate and leave responsibility or pass responsibility onto other people for the areas that you don't particularly like.
No, I think, in both of our circumstances, it sounded like we did it ourselves before having a business partner, right? And I think it's wise for people who are just getting started, and this maybe not be your audience so much, but the people who are just getting started, I think they should understand every facet of their business. They at least need to understand how an income statement works, even if they hate accounting. They need to understand how the business makes money, what comes in, what the expenses are, and how to turn a profit on it. I think they should make their own logo on their first website or their first e-commerce business, whatever it is. They need to be the one who's discussing with suppliers if they're an Amazon business. That's how you need to know your business intimately, and the only way to do that is to do all the roles yourself. Then once you grow, you can either outsource some of those. Customer relationships is the first one that seems like people outsource just because it's a pain and it's easy to outsource. Is customer management. So I think both you and I probably started and learned a lot from running our own business and having to go at it ourselves. Yeah. Now, for me, I'm real fortunate. My partner and my skill sets and what we enjoy doing about the business is in different areas. Like he loves to travel. He loves to network. He meets new people. It seems like a daily basis, people who are in the space just from networking. And we're here in Los Angeles. There's a big entrepreneur community. He meets a bunch of people doing that. I like the analytical side of stuff. I like the finance and breaking down valuations and justifying them. I like making sales packets. I like getting in front of buyers and private equity firms and some of the people who are in the industry who have in-depth questions about the business. It's more of an investment banking role, and that's what I enjoy. He doesn't like that much. So it meshes well in terms of what my skill set is and what I enjoy, and what his skill set is and what he enjoys. We work well together. I got to trust one another. So if people are getting into business with somebody they don't know, I'd be hesitant to advise that. I think it should be somebody and there are friends where it's like, hey, they just don't work well together. They might like each other and be great friends, but it's not going to be a good business partnership. Like I say, in Alex's case, it's been great. Yeah. I don't know how yours is, but probably pretty good as well.
No, mine's is good. I was fortunate enough to do business with this person prior to going into business with him, so it wasn't a case of me going out and saying I need a business partner. We worked together previously, probably over a course of a year or two, and got to know him better, understood and seen the value that he could bring for me. And he was a sales guy, wasn't an SEO guy. He didn't mind chasing up invoices, didn't mind client management. And I thought, why work? Because the guy was basically outsourcing his work to me. And I'm like, why don't we just join forces and be done with it? And luckily enough, it's all panned out for the best. And so I wouldn't suggest that people go out and randomly just get someone they don't know or whatever. I think you've got to find the right fit. But I hear a lot of guys that I talk to, certainly in entrepreneurship, and I'm not sure if it's a UK thing or whatever, and they don't want to share businesses with other people. They see it as lost money, if you like. But I would always see it as potentially growth and more money. But it's each to their own. Everyone's got their own opinions on how that works, but it worked very well for me, and obviously is working very well for you. So I would certainly say to anyone, don't discount it anyway. If there's someone out there that can add value or cover gaps.
I think it's especially true for your audience, the SEO guys. A lot of those people just want to do SEO. They don't want to deal with clientele. So partnering up with a sales guy like you did, and there's a lot of people who are would rather build relationships, would rather be in sales and marketing, and have the upside of owning a business, as opposed to just being a sales guy for somebody else's company. I think there's a lot of those relationships that can be built between the sales community and a service business type community like yours. So even an analytical career like SEO lends itself to networking for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's even potentially a career or a business opportunity for salespeople to go to SEO guys and be that sales function and probably earn a lot of money from it, But yeah, I'm sure there probably is a lot of people already doing that out there, to be honest with you. But no, it's all very interesting stuff, and it's great to hear how other people have came together and networked and built their business and stuff. So for anyone, so sadly we are out of time, but for anyone who wants to talk to you, Mark, or talk to you about brokerage or talk to you about business,
so they can, I know the SEO community's on Facebook. I'm already friends with a lot of this community on Facebook. Feel free to find me on Facebook. It's just Mark Woodbury, or upwardexits.com. You can reach us through the chat forum, or you just hit me on email. It's mark@upwardexits.com. I'm always interested to hear people's backgrounds and just chat business as well. If people are just looking to get into entrepreneurship, I'm happy to share some resources that have helped me out along the way, point them in the right direction. I think the best value we can bring to those people is Alex and I are in a privileged position to see behind the curtain at a lot of these businesses that are already working. So, we get an inside look at what's working and what's not in the space. How are people building successful businesses? We're always happy to share that, for people who are interested in reaching out.
Yeah, no, I think it's massively valuable that you do have that extra insight. So anyone, give these guys a shout, and they are firsthand dealing with all sorts of businesses. Obviously, people like me can give you my own experience, but they're doing it with multiple businesses. But thanks again, Mark, for taking the time to come on, and hopefully we can get you on in the future and talk about other stuff. If you are up for that, we can talk about different angles and different business things or whatever, and we'll do that in the future. But thank you for taking the time to come on today. It's been a pleasure.